one of the biggest misconceptions that parents have is that it's all about a numbers game. Universities are not really selecting transcripts, they're selecting future graduates.
So if the student watching this, they think that they're not good enough for the top university, what's the advice for them?
I don't think a student would be rejected because they have high grades, but high grade students can get rejected for other reasons. Don't just do 10 things at a really surface level. Choose one thing, choose one project, really dive deep into it.
What do you think that they need to focus the most? Most of the parents believe that getting to the top university is all about the grades. What happened if that's not true? What happened if the student who got accepted aren't the one with the highest score, but the one think differently? Today, we're not talking about ranking, we're talking about how the university really choose students. Join with me today, Mr. Mike Campos from Arizona State University. Mr. Mao, can you introduce a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Miles Campos, and I work with our international students here at Arizona State University. I myself graduated from ASU, and I've been at the university for a very long time. Although I am not an international student, I have lived with international roommates and worked with a lot of international students.
Okay, the first question I would like to ask you, what is the biggest misconception that the parents have about the university admission?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest misconceptions that parents have is that it's all about a numbers game. They think that all we're looking at is GPA, test scores, awards. In reality, during the admissions process, a lot of universities are looking for fit. They're not asking, is this student perfect? They're asking, is this student ready? And are they going to grow here? And are they a good choice for this university? So it's not just about numbers.
Okay, if you have to choose a perfect GPA student and the highly thinker student, who could you pick?
Well, if I had to choose, I guess I would choose the original thinker, assuming that both of them meet academic readiness. Universities are not really selecting transcripts. They're selecting future graduates. Everybody wants people that can think, adapt, and build, not just memorize. So this is something that is really important that universities are looking for.
Can you share the real example from Vietnamese student who enrolled to the Arizona State University, who the original thinker?
Sure. I do remember one student from Ho Chi Minh City who didn't have the best grades, but their family did own a small business. And so the student was involved in trying to help with some logistics issues. They even worked on a project for their family's business. Now, they were a teenager, and so it wasn't perfectly polished, but it did show ownership, it showed application of learning, it showed motivation. And to see a student do something like that really showed me that they are going to be successful.
So when do you look at the application, what do you look at first, especially when the student applied to the ASU?
Sure. The first thing I'm looking at is academic readiness. Are their grades good? Do they have enough math classes and science classes? And are their English scores good enough to come to the university? That's non-negotiable, so that is always the first thing that we're going to look at. After that, we're kind of looking at patterns of who this person is as a student. Are they challenging themselves? Are they progressing in their education? What are they doing outside of the classroom that can give you an idea of their motivation?
Mm-hmm. So that means the transcript is still important, right?
Transcripts are still important. There's really no way around that. Universities still have to meet their basic requirements. But beyond that, there is a lot that we're looking at outside of just transcripts.
Okay. So in the first 30 seconds, when you're looking at the transcript or the application, do you really have feeling for the student?
I think you can get a feeling for the student. Maybe not a perfect sense of everything, but you can get some signals on where they're going, the direction that they're moving in, what their motivations are. And so I think you can get a sense of sort of what their motivations are.
So what if an applicant stand out immediately if their score is not that good?
I think one thing that really makes an applicant stand out beyond just their grades is their clarity of direction. If that student can clearly explain and clearly understands why they're applying for this major, why they're applying for this university, why they want to come study in the United States, what it is they're planning to accomplish, if they can answer these basic questions, then they are already a really impressive student.
Okay. So I understand that Arizona State University is one of the top university in the U.S. Does the university test the student knowledge and how the student think?
Sure. I think basically all universities are testing foundational knowledge first. We need to make sure that they're actually learning the content in the classrooms. But I do think more than that, what universities are testing is how students are thinking. Can they connect ideas together? Can they handle ambiguity? Can they adapt when they get things wrong? Because students will get things wrong. Research projects will sometimes not go great. Sometimes they fail tests. Can the student bounce back? So, especially now in 2026, when things are changing so quickly, a lot of what a student learns in their first year might be completely different by the time they graduate because technology will have changed so fast. So what we're testing is can they be a lifelong learner? Can they continue to learn and adapt over the course of their life? Those are things that are more important than just building that foundational knowledge, but both are important.
Okay, so it still testing knowledge and also how they think and what their personality is.
Can they learn?
Yeah, okay. Have the school ever rejected the student who have very high score?
Now, ASU has pretty straightforward application requirements. I wouldn't say a university would reject a student because they have a high GPA or high grades. But oftentimes, even a student with really good grades might write essays that are really generic. You can't really get a sense of motivation or passion behind them. There's no real evidence of initiative. And so I don't think a student would be rejected because they have high grades, but high grade students can get rejected for other reasons.
Okay, so that means the high grade student can get rejected. So what is the real reason for the student get rejected if they still have high grades?
Well, I think every university might have slightly different philosophies, but in general, it's going to be, it's hard to figure out what their motivation is. Sometimes their activities that they're doing outside of the classroom just feel like resume padding. They tend to jump around from project to project. You've never seen them really dive deep into a single thing, which is what a lot of universities are looking for. They're looking for passion and motivation.
Okay. So the passion and motivation is really important for the application, right?
It is, yeah.
So what makes you believe that the student will succeed in the future at the ASU?
When I think of what's going to make an international student successful and trying to get a sense that they're going to succeed, there's a few things I'm looking for. One, are we seeing an upward trend in their education and their development? Are they taking progressively more difficult classes? Are they trying new things? Are they taking ownership of their learning? And are they able to recover when things inevitably go wrong? As I mentioned, a student coming here to the United States is going to be in a new culture, a new language, a new education system. Oftentimes the transition from high school to university or from university to a graduate program is already a pretty jarring experience. And when you add all that together, that resilience, that ability to be okay when you fail a class or when you fail a test, or be okay when you have a intercultural slip up, are really what, to me, is going to signal that a student is going to be successful.
You said before that the university do test the student knowledge, right? So what kind of test is that? Is the math test, or what test is that?
Generally, what we're looking at is grades. Are they getting good grades? Are they taking the correct classes? Particularly, are they taking the correct math classes, the right science classes? We don't necessarily require international students to take an SAT test or ACT test, for example. If they have it, that's great, but that's not something that we're particularly looking at.
So the SAT test is not compulsory at the school, right?
It's not, no.
If you have to describe the student who got accepted and the student who got rejected, what difference between them? What could you say in one sentence?
Yeah, I guess accepted students are always going to show clear motivation. We understand why they're making these decisions, why this program, why this university. And rejected students often don't show that. It's unclear why they have to come to ASU or why they have to do this particular program. So I think motivation, direction are two of the most important differences between a rejected student and an admitted student.
Yeah, so motivation and direction, that the
clarity of motivation and clarity of direction, I think, are important.
So what the biggest mistake that international students usually make when they do the application to the university?
Yeah, I think one of the main mistakes international students make during the application process is basically a lot of ChatGPT. A lot of some of the applications, they do sound kind of overly coached, overly polished, a little bit generic. And I think usually what universities are looking for is something a bit more authentic, something where you can really tell what that student's thinking and what their motivations are, and not necessarily a perfect essay or a perfect application.
So does the university do the ChatGPT check when they receive the application?
This is different, and I think different universities have different philosophies behind that. I think depending on how the university feels about it, they might be checking. Some of them might actually be expecting students to use ChatGPT, knowing that it's an academic tool, just like anything else. And so using ChatGPT is not necessarily a bad thing, or using AI is not necessarily a bad thing, but it should still be the student's own words, and there should still be that authenticity there.
Do you think that the mistake that international students usually make it come from the education system or the mindset?
Probably more of a mindset, I think. A desire or an expectation for things to be perfect. But really, there's a big difference between, for example, an 18-year-old student applying for a bachelor's program and someone with years of work experience applying for a PhD program. And we expect an 18-year-old's essay to read like an 18-year-old's essay. We're not expecting it to read like a PhD student's essay. So it's probably a bit of a mindset, or maybe students not understanding that that's what we're looking for.
So when you read the student personal statement, what make you think that the student authentic?
I think how you can detect authenticity is, are they being specific about things?
Okay.
When students have real experiences and they're describing real things, often they'll have concrete examples. They'll include small details. They'll often have really honest reflection about how they felt about things or how things affected them. Generic essays tend to not have those kind of details or those kind of concrete examples. Oftentimes, for example, with an 18-year-old applying for a bachelor's program, the words that they're using and the ways that they're phrasing things should sound like an 18-year-old talking. It shouldn't sound like a professor or a PhD student talking. And so even the words they use can give you some clues as to whether it's authentic or not.
So if the student have 6 months to improve their application, what do you think that they need to focus the most?
If a student only has 6 months to improve their application, I would build something real. I would take on a project and I would do that project deeply. Don't just do 10 things at a really surface level. Choose one thing, choose one project, really dive deep into it. That way you show passion, you show sustained effort, you show motivation, and you show that you can complete a project. And I think that those are things that can really add a lot of value to an application that some students might be missing in their profiles.
Yeah, I saw the student profile, and sometimes they do a lot of projects, but some project is just, they don't put a lot of time on it, and they don't have, like, for example, they have fan page, but don't have like few follower. It's not real follower.
Right, right. Yeah, a good 6 month long project that a student does deeply is a lot more impressive than a few smaller projects.
Well, what do you think about how the AI and data change the way you do the admission to get in the university?
Sure, that's a big question. I think everybody right now is looking to how to put AI into everything. AI will definitely increase efficiency in terms of screening, in terms of helping universities figure out is a student academically qualified, but I do not ever see AI actually making admissions decisions. That will still be a human doing that. AI cannot evaluate nuance or cultural context or the potential that a student has deep inside them. You still need a human to do that, but checking IELTS scores, checking SAT scores, that can all be done by AI.
Okay. So in another 10 years, do you think the grades of the student is still as important as they are now? In 10 years?
In 10 years, will grades still be important? They'll still be important. I don't think those are going to go away. We've had grades for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, so I think we will continue to have them. But grades just show baseline capability. Again, what a lot of universities are looking for in these applications are that innovation, that motivation, that passion. Grades often can't show that as much. So grades are always going to be there, but they're not necessarily going to be as much of a differentiator, I think, as they are now.
Yeah, with all the AI and ChatGPT now, do you think they can improve their grades by that?
Maybe. It definitely is creating a bit more of a level playing field. In a lot of ways, it's like having the internet. It used to be students would have to go to the library, which means they had to live near a library, live near a school in order to go get that knowledge. Then with the internet, everybody's able to go access lots of information, and it really levels the playing field. AI is going to do the same thing. And so it's not going to be as much of a differentiator with those grades. It's more how students use it and what those skills are and who they are as a person, their personality.
So if the student watching this, they think that they're not good enough for the top university, what's the advice for them?
Go for it. Universities are not looking for perfect students or perfect people. They're looking for people that are curious, that are motivated, that are passionate, and that are going to succeed at their university. That's certainly what ASU is looking for. Not necessarily the top people, 4.0 GPAs. That's not really what we're looking for. So don't worry if you're not perfect, or if your grades aren't 4.0, if you don't have perfect grades. because there's a lot of ways that you can really stand out in your application outside of just your grades.
So if you could give the student around the world a piece of advice about doing application for ASU, what could you say?
My biggest piece of advice would be to stay true to yourself and stay true to your own passions and what you're interested in. That's the easiest way to make sure that you're applying to the right university, to the right program that's a good fit for you, and that your passion and your authenticity of who you are as a person are going to shine through. So just be true to yourself, and that's going to make the best application and make sure you end up the best university for you.
Okay, so that is my final question, and thank you so much for the time today, and thank you so much for sharing the inside knowledge from the university that I'm sure that benefit all the students who watch this video.
Thank you very much, and best luck to all the students out there watching and listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.